Hello everybody, this is Dr. Bob DiMaria with another episode of Ask Dr. Bob. Some phenomenal new questions. Thank you for watching and sending your questions. And this happens to be from a gentleman who has been on a lot of antibiotics, about 7 rounds. Recently just went on a generic form of Bactrim and had an allergic reaction to it. He's wondering if he had a Candida, which is a yeast overgrowth to all the different medications he's been on. And he has something called a coated tongue. And I have a Doctor of Natural Health degree, and a part of my studies was studying Ayurvedic medicine or Asian Indian medicine. And we have a coated tongue. It's called Alma. Alma has to do with energy in the body. This gentleman wrote the question, if you have this coated tongue, that tells me your body is probably very toxic. Yes, you probably have yeast. A couple of my thoughts. You may consider having a stool culture. The stool culture is we would send your fecal material into a lab and tell you exactly what's going on inside of your body. I would avoid sugar and yeast and fruit. So yes, you definitely have a challenge and you want to recolonate. No sugar, no fruit. Next question. Someone has stage 4 colorectal cancer. And they've been on a lot of chemo. They've been in bed for weeks at a time. My suggestion would be, one of the ways that you could help minimize the effects of chemo and radiation is something called chlorella. There's a great book called The Answer to Cancer by Dr. Sharma, and in there he has a diet of the type of food you could eat during chemo. Dr. Sharma, The Answer to Cancer, is one of my class study books also. You really want to clean your liver up. Colon cancer is usually just a sign of toxicity. Maybe you had a history of eating a lot of gluten, maybe alcohol, I don't know. You would even maybe consider bouncing on a ball. That helps to move the lymphatic system. There is a product that I'm going to encourage you to do a search on. It's called Protocell. I don't have the time to go into the details of Protocell now. Do a search on it. We've had several of our practice members that have come into the office on that protocol before even coming in to seeing us. Dr. Bob, my cholesterol, you put quote unquote, is normal. Is it okay if my triglycerides are high? Triglycerides are fat. If your triglycerides are high, you have your hand in the cookie jar. So your cholesterol is okay for now, but over time, it could be an issue. This is a very interesting question. My sister has suffered from PLA, P as Paul, L-E, Louis, Echo, for a decade. And I'm hoping you can share with me if there's a medical cure. Well, we don't ever promote a cure for anything, but we help manage. PLE stands for protein-losing enteropathy. You say, what does that mean? That means basically your sister's intestines are losing protein. I would check for parasites. We are literally seeing an epidemic of parasites. A stool culture is a good way to go. You can do an eosinophil check with what we call your CBC and differential. If your eosinophil count is elevated, you may in fact have a challenge with parasites. A fecal material, a fecal study is probably very well to go. I've also noticed that people have inflamed gut tend to have low essential fatty acids. You may consider the essential fatty acid blood spot test. If so many people have been on a low-fat diet for such a long time, could be an issue. We also use a liquid protein that would be absorbed in her mouth. I take one myself personally, and you can contact us for that. The next one is, hi Dr. Bob, I'm on a low FODMAP diet for IBS. The FODMAP diet has everything to do with certain foods, usually a healthy type of food, that create digestive distress. I'm going to tell you once again, I would check for parasites. Anytime you have a chronic colon problem, always check for parasites. An eosinophil count is the way to go. And for everybody, you could have a chem profile and look at your carbon dioxide, CO2. If your CO2 is low, chances are you have some what we call dysbiosis, and we use something called L-glutamine for that. So check your CO2, colon culture, check for parasites. You know, I've read more and more about the FODMAP myself, individuals that have had challenges with really good food. Check your gut. Great questions, a lot of tremendous new activity going on. Thank you for your emails. I'm Dr. Bob DiMaria.